What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to paint day for the Civic Type R engine bay. We got this thing in primer a couple days ago. I've been letting it cure, harden, shrink up, and by the end of the video this thing is going to be all painted up, looking nice and fresh. I'm gonna get it outside, get some sanding done. There's a couple little defects that I want to complete. You can see everything much better when it's all one, or mostly all one color like it is right now. So there's some stuff up here I want to finish up. I may do some sort of seam sealer or something on the welds. We'll see. Let's just get it outside, get to sanding, and see how good we can get this thing to look before we slap down some paint. So you guys saw the first thing I put down was this guide coat. This stuff is super nice for showing you all your low spots and defects and whatnot. So you put down the guide coat. It's like a powder form. It does not wipe off with water, which is super nice. And then I'm blocking it out with 400 grit. Unfortunately, all I have is these DA discs here, but they do the trick. The goal is to not burn through the primer. If you burn through a little bit, it's not a big deal, but you don't want to pull all of the primer back off. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bunch of bare metal to deal with, which is not fun. I got the whole entire bay sanded down. There's a couple areas that I burned through, which of course is not ideal. They say anything over like a 1/4 inch size, you should probably reprimer. So we should be good there. I'm gonna run through the whole entire bay and the wheel wells and just go over every single thing with this Scuff Stuff by Presta and a red Scotch-Brite pad. This is gonna clean it up even more. Of course, the wheel wells, we want to get all that dirt and grit out of there before we do any sort of paint work. So let's run through everything again with this, and then we could set up our janky little inflatable booth and slap down some paint. So technically we could pull this thing in the booth right now and spray it out. It would look really, really good. But before I do that, there is one thing I don't have to do this, but I want to do this. I showed you guys in yesterday's video my welds, welding the tubs to the frame rails. I initially welded them on I ground them down and I didn't really like the ground down look. So then I welded it again and now I'm kind of regretting it. So I asked you guys in yesterday's video what you guys would do. And a lot of you guys must be covering up your welds as well, because I'm about to go grab some seam sealer. I do have some here, but it's only for bare metal. Of course, that thing's in primer now. So I'm gonna grab some seam sealer, slop it over the welds, kind of cover them up, hide them a little bit so they don't look so shitty. Granted, when the motor and all the drivetrains in the car, you probably won't see them all that much, but I know they're there and it's a perfect opportunity to go ahead and spend like 40 bucks on some seam sealer, cover them up and be much more happy. So let's go grab that, come back, apply the seam sealer and get this little inflatable boost set up and spray this guy out. Got some 3M self-leveling seam sealer that is made to go over primer. So let's see what we can do. Hopefully I don't make it worse. All right, my friends, car is in the booth. Previously, I wish I got this thing on camera, but the booth was yet to be tied down and it got a little bit windy. The booth flew about 20 or 30 feet. It was kind of a hassle, but it's tied down now, car's in the booth. Let's go ahead and get it jacked way up in the air because we're doing the fender wells and whatnot as well. Get it on jack stands and get it masked up. Then we're gonna go wax and grease remover, tack cloth, some black sealer, then the paint, then the clear coat, and we should be good to go. Got the car all cleaned up. Let's go ahead and slap down some urethane black sealer. This is just so we don't have to use so much of the color, because black over gray, it covers, but black over black covers better. And I don't know if I'm gonna spray color in the wheel wells and whatnot. It is a little bit pointless, but if I have some left over in the gun, I will shoot color in the wheel wells as well. Sealer is laid down, being that it's so damn windy out. It's flinging the tent around, which is in turn dropping like white specks of paint from previous paint jobs onto the paint. But thankfully it's just sealer, so I'm gonna go ahead and nib it out real quick with some 600 wet. And I'm gonna wait for this wind to calm down before I continue on with this job, because the last thing I want is to lay down clear with a bunch of shit in the paint and have to wet sand and polish an engine bay. That would not be fun. Went ahead and nibbed out the sealer. Let's go ahead and spray on some base coat. The good thing is with base coat as well, we can nib it out if need be, but when it comes to clear, I want it as clean as possible. So yeah, hopefully we can get a good job out of this freaking paint booth today. I rarely have good luck with it. Alrighty boys, base coat time. Wind died down a little bit. The tent's not flopping around anymore, so it's a little better. Oh geez. Right when I get in here, then of course the wind picks back up. So I got this side to quit flopping around, just put some stock Type R wheels down, don't care about these things. Helped tremendously, but you can still see in between each coat, all this little white stuff lands on it. Thankfully, most of it blows or wipes off, and the stuff that doesn't blow or wipe off, I am sanding out. I'm gonna hit one more coat of base and then we can move on to clear. I can literally see white stuff falling from the sky. It's like it's snowing in here. Moving on to clear. This is the clear that we're going to be running. This is the same clear that is on the rest of the car. Of course, it's a bay. It doesn't need to match 100% perfectly orange peel wise, but I'm trying to lay it down flat. So let's see what we can do. I may do 3 coats of clear today. Usually I'll do 2, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do some wet sanding on those tubs to make them look as nice as I want them to look. So for now, I'm just gonna mix up enough for 2 coats, and then I'll decide from there. Look at all of the white stuff that lands on this thing. My oh my. I think it's all coming from the roof, from all the wind blowing it around. Usually it's not nearly this bad. All right boys, wish me luck. Hopefully it turns out good. If it don't, whatever, we'll redo it. No matter what I do with a stupid ass booth, I cannot get good results. It's easy to lay down sealer and base just fine because it dries quickly and you can quickly nib it out, but in between coats of clear, of course you can't sit there and nib stuff out. And 3 coats of clear, that's a lot of wet time on the car, obviously. And with all this stuff just floating around in the air on this shitty ass booth, man oh man, this is gonna be a fun one to polish, to wet sand and polish. Maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic. It turned out really, really nice. I'm not gonna complain, but of course the main areas being right here, these are definitely gonna need some wet sanding and polishing. Other than that, I probably won't worry about it. Of course, the firewall, that turned out good. Wheel wells, I don't care at all. They're black, they look nice. But this being the main area that you're gonna see, they need to be very, very, very nice. And it looks like some water dripped on it, so that's cool. But let's take a quick little stand back I'm gonna let it sit in here for a couple hours and kind of harden up before I pull it out. But overall, I'm happy. It would have been a perfect paint job if we sprayed it in an actual booth. From here on out, I don't know, I'm tempted to just to throw this booth in the dumpster just so I don't use it ever again, so I'm not running into this problem, and just rent out an actual paint booth to get a proper, good, mint paint job, if you guys know what I mean. It's frustrating putting all this hours and time and effort in and money in to get a subpar paint job.
Do I need to put this down or are we good?
Well, from about 30 feet away, she does look very, 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 very nice. I went to the gym, came back to get her in the shop with a whole lot of more bullshit landing on the paint. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. The only part I'm worried about that I'm gonna wet sand and polish is this, maybe that side there, and maybe a little bit of the frame rail. Everything from here down, of course, is covered. Stuff in the firewall would be impossible. And honestly, the firewall turned out a lot better. I think this got the brunt of the damage and the fallout from the roof, obviously because it's facing the roof. This guy here was kind of covering the firewall. But as a whole, I can't complain. For that janky little inflatable booth, I definitely cannot complain. So I'm gonna let her harden up overnight, come back in the morning, and we can get to wet sanding and polishing out our dirt. Not even dirt, all the white paint flakes that fell from the sky.